Greetings. We continue today, part 3 of the name of God, Jehovah Cela. We left off reading Psalm 57, 1 and 2. David's praise for his prayer when he fled from Saul to hiding in the cave. In this part of the story, we understand that David and his men were hiding in the area of En-Gedi in a cave called Sela Hamakaloth, 1 Samuel 23, 8. It's about 30 miles southeast of Jerusalem on the western shore of the Dead Sea. And Saul shows up with 3,000 troops. They were looking for David to kill him. Saul came into the entrance of the very cave in which they were hiding to sleep for the night, while the troops were stationed outside the cave. While Saul slept, David's men tried to persuade him that he would be justified in preemptively taking the life of this self-avowed enemy of David's. David steadfastly refused to kill Saul, opting instead to cut off a piece of his garment as a proof that he could have killed him while he slept. Because of this act of kindness by David, Saul ceased seeking his life. Third, the Lord is still our deliverer, the one who keeps us safe from capture by the enemy or facilitates our escape from capture. So let's give credit where credit is due. Only divine providence kept David and his men from being discovered in the cave that night. Likewise, only divine providence has spared my life from death on many occasions, and yours also, some of which we may not even be aware of. Remember the angel and Balaam's donkey? God sent his messengers, his guardian angels, to watch over and to keep us safe according to his will and his instruction. Fourth, David says the Lord was his strength and he's still our strength today, the strong rock of defense. This word emphasizes the sharpness or firmness. The strength is what is being emphasized. The signification of the rock of Gibraltar is an example of the meaning God is attempting to convey to us concerning himself. The immense size, the immense strength, the immense endurance of God as our rock cannot be overemphasized. Listen to Paul's testimony in 2 Timothy 3 and verse 11. He said, persecutions, afflictions, which came unto me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystra, what persecutions I endured, but out of them all the Lord delivered me. Again in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 16 through 18, he says, at my first answer no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the Gentiles might hear, and I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. And the Lord shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. In 2 Timothy 1:12, he says, for which cause I also suffer these things. Nevertheless, I am not ashamed, for I know whom I have believed, and I am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed unto him against that day. Fifth, the Lord is still our buckler, that small shield that we looked at last time for defensive maneuvers in battle, to hedge up the breach in the hedge at any given moment. My brief tenure as a law enforcement officer, as well as my continued work with those who serve with us on a daily basis and for us, prove that God is still the buckler for those who are serving him. I realize all those who serve in law enforcement do not think of themselves as the servants of God, but Romans 13, 3 and 4 declares that they are, in fact, the front line of God's justice and judgment in this present world. It says, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil, that is, to the evil works. Wilt thou not then be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. In the execution of these duties, how often do those in law enforcement experience, quote, near misses, similar to David surviving 3 attempts of Saul to kill him with a javelin at close range? In Ephesians 6:16, Paul speaks of our involvement in spiritual warfare and the use of the shield of faith as one part of God's armor which he has supplied us. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you may be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. The purpose for the preserving of the physical life is that we might continue serving in the spiritual warfare.